Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Sharief, Ishaq, bottom of the hour, talking Saints. NFL Combine is cranking up today from Indianapolis. We'll talk a little bit about that with Sharief. I want to remind you, come on out and see us this Tuesday evening, which is tonight, obviously, at Court at the Table. Sports Trivia, 8 o'clock. I'll be watching LSU baseball, which will be at the box. But if you're not headed out there, come on to Court at the Table. For Sports Trivia, we'll have 5 rounds, live-action sports trivia. You can win gift cards, have awesome food, great drinks as well. We always have a good time, so hope to see you out there at Court at the Table this evening. We start at 8 o'clock, usually done right about 9:15. We're not there all hours of the night, just there to knock out some rounds of fun trivia, usually an LSU football round, and give out some gift cards and get on home. So come see us, Court at the Table on Burbank for Sports Trivia tonight. Speaking of tonight, LSU and Mcneese from the box. I want to say 6:30 first pitch. Generally speaking, that's when the midweek games are. I'm always hesitant now. It was always 6:30 during the Maneri era and early on in the J era. Now we're playing sometimes at 1, sometimes at 2. You never know in February, but 6:30 first pitch, LSU and Mcneese tonight. Mcneese off to a bit of a clunky start. They're 2-5. They got swept over the weekend by Kansas in a very poor offensive weekend for them. Scored a total of 5 runs in 3 games. Only had 3 extra base hits in the 3 games against Kansas. That was in Lake Charles, Kansas. That game down here, get out of the weather. They had a decent start to the season offensively. They had 48 hits in their first 4 games. They played Sam Houston and then beat Louisiana Tech in the midweek. But Kansas really doused those Flames offensively pretty quickly. I'm not too concerned with Mcneese at this point. I'm concerned with LSU and going out there and playing. I thought it was interesting. Jay Johnson said in a press setting the other day that he's kind of made it a career goal to go undefeated in the midweek. And last year they almost did it. They lost 1 game in run rule fashion, actually, to Northwestern State. Hand up, that was my vacation week. And we had some fun out at dinner and played some games as a family, and we're out on the beach and taking pictures and whatnot. And I didn't pay attention to the game. And I woke up the next morning to go play golf with my dad, and I pulled up the score on my phone and went, oh, sorry I missed that one. 13-3 Northwestern State beat LSU. There's a lightning delay involved. It was shortened to 7 innings for the run rule. Bad effort, but they were great in every other midweek game. They had a lot of games where they jumped on teams in the first inning and played really well. So Jay usually has his guys ready to go in this game. There are some things that I'll be looking for in the game tonight. Jaden Newt and Zach Cowan did not pitch over the weekend in Jacksonville. Both of them very early on, but both of them sport 9 exactly ERAs. These guys are better than that. And I think you're going to see both of those guys in the game tonight. Cowan's been hit hard. He's pitched 2 innings over 2 appearances, and he's given up 7 hits, including a double and a home run. He's only walked 1 guy, but he's leaving the ball up, and they're hitting it hard, and he needs to do a better job than that. The good news is he has got a 2-year track record here, okay? You're talking about a year as Wofford's Friday guy where he was really good, and then last year at LSU's bullpen where he was really good. So I'm not concerned that he's forgotten how to pitch or that he's been passed up or he's got to earn his innings. There's no doubt on the staff this deep, you've got to earn your innings, but he's got to keep the ball down. He's got to throw his fastball for strikes. He's got to throw his changeup down and at times out of the zone. He's got to get that weak contact that he gets a lot. And I think you'll see him potentially starting tonight and needs to be a little bit better. Jaden Newt started the Kent State game last week, gave up 3 runs on 3 hits and 3 walks in 3 innings. I think it's safe to suggest that Kent State's decent. I'm not going to say they're great, but they're decent. So we'll forgive Newt to an extent. You give up that kid that hits second for him is a monster, and he hit that ball way up off the scoreboard off Newt last Monday. So he's got to be a little bit better, and this is I would imagine that Kent State's better than Mcneese. Those 2 guys, I would imagine you'll see for 2 or 3 innings apiece, trying to stretch them out and make sure that they get things back on track. Probably a good chance you see Reagan Ricken, too, based on what he did last week in the midweek. Really threw it great. And then obviously didn't pitch in Jacksonville after having pitched on Wednesday. I think you'll see him for an inning, maybe 2 tonight. Maybe he starts tonight because Jay Johnson wants to see a little bit more of that. But these are the 3 guys that didn't do much over the weekend, and I think that they're likely to get the baseball tonight in some capacity. The other thing I'm looking at, just big picture in this game tonight, is just defense. Tanner Reeves has played some left field. He made 2 errors out there in left field, so they went to Braden Simpson out in left. Seth Dardart plays really hard at second base. He's made some good stops, diving especially to his left. His throwing accuracy and just overall rhythm and footwork are not poetry at all. But LSU's got to play defense. You have to play good defense. And in these low leverage, low stress games early in the season against teams that you're better than, that's a time where you got to lock in. You got to play good defense, and I want to watch LSU play catch tonight. Here's a reason, among many. There are lots and lots of reasons why this is a bad matchup for Mcneese tonight. One of them is that LSU is very, very good at taking pitches. If you read my piece on LouisianaSports.net with the quote from Notre Dame's coach, the quote from Indiana's coach over the weekend, talking about LSU's plan and approach and execution of that plan and standing there and taking pitches and not extending and all those things. Well, Mcneese will spray the ball a little bit. They walked 11 in a game against Sam Houston. They walked 10 in one of the games against Kansas. For the season, they're walking about 8 per game. So if you're going to walk 1 an inning against LSU, you're going to put yourself against the 8 ball. So LSU needs to be selective, take their walks, and go out there and execute against Mcneese. First and foremost, you go out there and try to win the game. If you can put yourself in position to do that early in the game, you can get a look at some different things. And I'm all for getting Cade Arambidi off his feet. I'm all for getting at bats to some of these guys who don't start the game, whether it's Reeves, whether it's Simpson, whether you're talking about John Pearson or Omar Cerna. Like maybe Cerna starts, and like I mentioned, get Cade Arambidi off his feet. They haven't hit the traditional cadence of the season yet. You had 2 midweek games last week. You've got 2 midweek games next week because you wrap into Monday with the weekend series, and you got a Wednesday game at Louisiana Lafayette before your final weekend in non-conference. So, like, you haven't gotten to the normal Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday. So everything's a little bit off at this point, from saving your catcher's legs to who in the bullpen needs to get work, or do you have enough days off? The good news is for LSU, in this instance, you play on Tuesday. You do not play Wednesday or Thursday, so a couple days off. If you need to go to Maverick Rizzi here, you can. If you need to go to Gavin Guidry here, you can. If you need to go to Devin Sheeran here, you can. You can go to all those guys without fear of not having them on Friday, and I think that puts you in an advantageous spot. Ideally, you take care of this game, you take control of this game, you win this game in 10-run fashion, you win this game, 7-1, and you can do whatever you want personnel-wise. If you get into a tight game, you need to go to your A relievers. Those guys are certainly available for you in this game. So an advantageous spot for LSU. They've started 8-0 for the first time in the Jay Johnson era, and you look at the rest of the non-conference, it looks pretty advantageous. Like, you're better than Mcneese. You're better than Dartmouth. You're better than Northeastern, who's gotten off to a really bad start. They were good last year. They've gotten off to a bad start this year. You're better than Louisiana Lafayette. You're better than these teams that are on the schedule pre-conference. Now, generally speaking, you slip up once. Last year, they slipped up once to Omaha. Stony Brook a couple of years ago got them on a weekend. Usually, there's one pre-conference game where you slip up. Hopefully not. But tonight, you got Mcneese coming in. They did not play well over the weekend. You got a bullpen that's kind of ready to go. You got veteran pitchers that need to get some innings that look a little bit better than they have, and got to play defense. You notice I just went through that entire game and didn't give you many keys on offense, other than the fact that LSU walks a lot and Mcneese walks a lot of guys. I think LSU's going to hit. I think they're going to hit just about every night they go out there. Inevitably, there are a couple games where the bats fall asleep or you run into a first-round pick. That ain't tonight. So go out there and take control of your business, handle Mcneese. The game's at 6:30. You can catch it on the LSU Sports Radio Network, Eagle 98.1. Not sure who will be on the call tonight. Chris may have already headed off to Oxford. He may be here for one more day and then go on game day to Oxford tomorrow because the basketball team plays Wednesday night. But either way, at 6 o'clock, pregame show. Crank up on Eagle 8.1. You can listen to it on our sister station. LSU and Mcneese tonight from the box. Take a time out. When we come back, let's get into the biggest key returner for each top 25 team, specifically for LSU. Who does ESPN think for LSU's 2026 football team is the most key returning player? We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Got one of those big 1990s jacuzzis, takes up a lot of room in your bathroom, and you never use it, or it hasn't worked in 5 years? Well, why is it there? It's a lot of space you're wasting. Take it out. David Duvall and his team can take that tub out, put in a glass walk-in shower. There's plenty of room in that footprint to put in a walk-in shower. Change the aesthetic of your bathroom, change the functionality of your bathroom, add a little value to your home. You're thinking, well, I've got a standalone shower right there. Why would I put another one in? Well, you can take that shower out and put in a linen closet. Use that space more effectively, more efficiently. David Duvall and his team do that kind of stuff all the time. Don't just call the handyman down the street, tell him to start ripping out sheetrock. Call a company that's been at it 30 years, that's licensed and bonded and insured, that has a master plumber on contract. That's what you can do with One Bath and Closet. It starts with a consultation. Just talk to David, tell him what you want. He'll tell you what they can do for you. They got financing options, 0% up to 18 months, same as cash. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online, onebathandclosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
About Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com. Got membership options available to you, which can give you perks as far as access to their bays, hours that you're able to use without payment on site at that point. You can host clients, work on your game, or just have some fun on a midweek or a weekend. It's a great, great option as an alternative to the driving range. It's an alternative to traditional 18 holes of golf or 9 holes of golf. And I enjoy the heck out of it. Like, of course, I love going out there and playing golf on a course on a Saturday evening or on a Saturday morning. I love that. And I love going and hitting on the simulator. And they're two different things in my eyes. If you've never tried simulator golf, go check it out. It's not the exact same, but there's a sensation of it that is very, very similar. You hit that shot that's headed right at the pin, it gives you that sensation. You want a card to score, it gives you that. You want just a little bit more efficient way to practice in a controlled environment that doesn't have wind, doesn't have wet grass or dead grass or whatever, bad golf balls, whatever the case may be. You go in there and work on your game for 45 minutes in a controlled environment like that at the driving range setting of the simulator. It's a really, really cool spot. You got beers in there. They got seltzers in there. They got your tunes. They got televisions. You can bring friends. You can work on your game alone. You can go on the weekend. You can go after work. It's a great spot. They're on Segan at Perkins. Swing Easy Golf Club, online at swingeasygcbr.com. All right, ESPN came up with a piece, key football returning players for each top 25 team entering the 2026 season. And you have to scroll a little bit further than I wanted to scroll to get to LSU, quite frankly. LSU ranked 15th in this ESPN preseason poll. A little early, but that's okay. Also insignificant. But LSU's key player, I went through some names in my head of key returners. And obviously Whit Weeks came to mind, clearly. I think Harlan Berry and Caden Durham came to mind. Trey'Dez Green was right there at the forefront, but none of those was the name listed. The key returner the ESPN listed, DJ Pickett. And, I don't think that's a bad call. DJ Pickett is on a trajectory that we're very comfortable with here in Baton Rouge, very comfortable with here in Louisiana, very comfortable with here in the LSU fan base. He is the next Derek Stingley. He is the next Tre'Davious White. He is the next pick your number one corner that came to LSU, right? There have been plenty of them. And he got on the field last year very quickly, despite the fact that he was undersized in terms of his frame. He's tall, but lanky. And early in the season, teams were headed that direction. Like Ole Miss said, we're coming at DJ Pickett and PJ Woodland. That's where we're not throwing at Mansour Lane. I'm going to ask Lane Kiffin about this if I get an opportunity, because he told the broadcast team entering that game that's what they were going to do. If y'all are unaware of the process with the television broadcast, they sit down with the opposing coaches and players on either Thursday or Friday of game week to get background information to tell stories on the broadcast. And as I was watching the game, LSU Ole Miss, you heard on the telecast them say, Lane Kiffin told us this week they'd identified Delane as maybe the best corner in the country, and they just weren't going to go that direction very often. And they didn't. And they went at PJ Woodland a lot, and he actually came down with a pick. And they went at DJ Pickett a lot, and he came down with an interception that was then called pass interference, and they had some success against him. But as time went on, Pickett started to make more plays. And I thought really had a nice freshman season. I don't know if he was great in coverage in the Texas Bowl, but he was really good much of the year. Big play in the Oklahoma game, big play in the Arkansas game, and obviously had the interception kind of flying through the air in the game against Florida. And now I'm hopeful that that's a guy we're going to see in the spring. This is something that we can see. I don't know how much depth chart stuff we're going to see in the spring. I highly doubt how much scrimmaging we're going to see during the spring. My anticipation, based on nothing but his track record at Ole Miss, is that Lane Kiffin is not going to let us see very much in spring ball, and I'm fine with it. Do I want to see more? Yes. It helps me with my show. It helps me with the website. It helps me to create content if I can see more. Am I entitled to seeing a ton of LSU football practice? I am not. I'm grateful for whatever they can do. The more, the better, but whatever they got to do, get after it. I don't think we're going to see a lot, but what we will be able to see is something. And something is getting out there and seeing what they look like in the pads. And I'm hopeful that DJ Pickett looks a little bigger, looks a little stronger, because his ball skills are great. His height is as good as anybody in the country. And his freshman year was solid. And now he's working with one of the best technicians and developers at the position in the country, if not the best. And so if you can get a sizable jump from DJ Pickett this year, you're talking about adequately replacing Mansour Delane. I'm not suggesting he's the same. I'm not suggesting he's a slam dunk top 15 pick, but I think you could suggest DJ Pickett could play relatively close to the level we saw Mansour Delane play at. And look, that's a very, very high bar. But he's got some physical gifts that you can't teach, and he was not overmatched as a freshman. A lot of freshmen corners, a lot of freshmen offensive linemen, defensive linemen, most freshman quarterbacks are overwhelmed with the game. Running backs assimilate okay, maybe safety, but like corners in man-to-man, especially this day and age where you're facing a lot of like 22, 23-year-olds and you're 18, 19. There's not a lot of 18, 19-year-olds on the field. There are not a lot of 18, 19-year-olds on the basketball court. Not a lot of 18, 19-year-olds on the softball field, on the baseball field. They just don't play a lot. It's a portal era. And Pickett played a lot. So I think it's fair to suggest he takes a jump. And if he does, you've got a true, legit number one corner who is a difficult matchup for everyone because wide receivers don't see 6'5" corners with arms significantly longer than theirs, where you can pressure guys to the line of scrimmage and jam. It's hard to jam if you're DJ Pickett and you're 6'5", $175. Like you're just, even though you can get your arms on people, they can just knock you out of the way at times if they're a 23-year-old man. But if he's able to put on 10, 12, 15 pounds and play the way he did last year, and oh, by the way, those 22-year-olds leave, and now he's closer to one of the oldest players on the field, well, that changes the equation. So I can see a case for Trey'Dez Green here. Absolutely. I can see a case for Whit Weeks here. Absolutely. I can see a case maybe for, those are probably the ones ahead of Pickett. Caden Durham, Weston Davis, even looking at the center position in Braylon Moore, I think it's a big deal. But I'm okay with Pickett here because we're comfortable with this career arc. We're comfortable with 5-star stud, early playing time, opposite the number one corner, emerges to an all-league player. And when we go to Tampa, as it were, in July for SEC Media Days, DJ Pickett will get first-team preseason all-league. He will. He'll get first-team preseason all-league. Because he's a famous recruit. He played a lot last year because of LSU's reputation at the spot and because of Corey Raymond's reputation, quite frankly, in the SEC, which is a ton of respect for a guy that has continued to churn out superstars, that his position group, year after year after year after year. And Pickett is next up on the list. And oh, by the way, he's pretty key to this team because you're not very deep at corner. Like, it doesn't take a long time to come down the cornerback pecking order and get to Aiden Anding, who didn't really play last year, and get to Havon Finney, who's an early enrollee, reclassified freshman. That's not exactly you want to be leaning on. You want to lean on Pickett. You want to lean on Woodland. You want Jakeem Jackson to step up. And then you fill the holes behind that adequately with however many corners you need on the field. But Pickett is a big, big deal to this defense, and you got to cover. Got to cover this day and age, and he's really, really good at that. So that's a look at your Fighting Tiger football here on this Tuesday. Reminder, we've got sports trivia tonight at Court to Table, 8 o'clock over there on Burbank. We'll take a time out. We'll come back with Sharief Ishaq from WDSU. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com. As of January 1st, Lifetime Roofing is thrilled to offer a lifetime warranty. That lifetime warranty extends to workmanship as well as craftsmanship and materials, backed by Certainteed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building materials. Lifetime workmanship warranty. You just don't see that a lot. That's the confidence that Lifetime Roofing has in what they're doing. Not only do they have that, they've got 0% financing for up to 18 months. If you're looking to finance your deductible, they can help you with that. Looking to finance a whole roof, they can help you with that. If you're looking to sell your home sometime in 2026 and think, man, probably should put a new roof on that just to check the resale value and make sure that it's where it needs to be. Well, if that's the case, check with Lifetime Roofing. They'll do your inspection. They can handle a new roof. Maybe it's just a repair. Maybe it's just fortifying that roof to add the value that you're looking for to your home. They can help you out. Check them out at lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Last week, obviously, Mardi Gras on Tuesday gave Sharief the week off. He was out doing some reporting, if you want to call it that. He's back a week later. I guess we can get an update on how that went. Join us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharief, how was Mardi Gras?
It was cool. I was riding on one of the Zulu floats, and it was quite the scene, man. The crowds were record-breaking crowds. I don't think I've ever seen as many people as I've seen on St. Charles and Canal that I saw last week in my life. It was on.
Did you throw a coconut?
No, because I was on the top. So apparently you can't throw coconuts when you're on the top.
A little velocity issue there?
A little concussion issue there.
So you can toss them off the side, but you can't go from 12 feet high?
Yeah, they're empty coconuts, which makes no sense because there are things that are much heavier up there that can hurt people other than coconuts.
Look, I played defense from a 4-year-old for 5 hours on the Sunday before, and he didn't get a concussion, which is good. So I know how that can go. What were you dressed up as?
I was actually I rode in Mad Hatters the week before, and I just used the same costume. It was like an entire flamingo suit with a flamingo hat, like a nice top hat, flamingo top hat. I'll have to send you a picture of it. It was pretty cool.
You didn't get the Olympics assignment?
No, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something different than sports.
Understood. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Saints. The Combine cranks up this week. What's your interest level in the NFL Combine?
Zero. Never any really interest level. I really call it the underwear Olympics.
Yep.
I understand it. It's there for a reason. It's mostly, to me, I think it's mostly like a way to like communicate and just this is where the deals are done. I think in terms of like who's going to be signed, which agents are going to see their players sign with a team. I think that's the most important part of the NFL Combine Week. This is where we see where deals are made. Look, I understand like some of these guys get a chance to see their stock rise, but dude, if you could play football in pads on Saturday, then you could play football on Sunday. Like running around with your shorts and a shirt on, catching passes, chasing after, tackling dummies, that really does nothing for me. I mean, I obviously have never played the game, but just looking at it, it's like, whatever. What is it? I mean, nothing. It's, routes on air. It's nothing that's really interesting. The 40-yard dash I love watching, but other than that, I just really take nothing out of it.
All right, well, I'll give you a position. Tell me if you think the Saints are more likely to address it in free agency or in the draft. Guard.
Okay. Free agency for sure. I think like they have some money. This would be the best spot. The best time to do it would be in free agency because you look at the top 100 free agents, they got at least 9 guards in there. The Saints can chase down. David Edwards. Vera Tucker. There are quite a few guys in there that the Saints can chase down. Isaac from the Steelers, he's good. Isaac Malu, he's good. Those are some guys out there that the Saints can go after and shore up that interior offensive line because I think that's where it starts. They need to figure out the interior offensive line because that has been an issue for so many years. Tyler Ishaq was able to make it work because he's got the legs to navigate his way around a lot of the pressure, but I think for them to become a better football team offensively, it has to be addressed during free agency.
Running back.
I think that's where my pick is at number 8, and I think everyone knows who I want, and everybody who's doing a mock draft knows who the guy the Saints should draft, and that should be Jeremiah Love. So if not at number, let's just say he's not there, maybe they get his teammate Jadarian Price in a later round because I think he's also a very good running back. But yes, I'll go with the draft.
Wide receiver.
I also think it's draft because it's a deep NFL draft, whether if it's at 8 or if it's the 2nd or 3rd round pick.
Edge rusher.
Also the draft, another position that's kind of deep. So I would do that as well in the NFL draft, 2nd round or 4th round.
Corner.
That's a tricky one. I would try to address that in free agency because they do have some corners that could be very interesting in Brandon Staley's system.
What if they took Mansour to Lane at 8?
That'd be a good pick. Look, if he's there at 8, I know he's projected to be like top 12. Maybe it's a bit of a reach by like 5 or 6 picks. I wouldn't be mad, but I wouldn't pass up Jeremiah Love for a cornerback.
What position would make you mad if they went there at 8?
Offensive lineman. Another offensive tackle. If they do it again, it's going to be very frustrating knowing that this is a draft where I look at it this way, Hunt. You either are going to pay guys in free agency or would you much rather have them on a rookie contract for 4 or 5 years, your weapons. I'd much rather do it in the draft. And I'd much rather take care of the offensive line in free agency.
You talked about, I can understand what you're saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. But what if they took Mawanoa from Miami, who everybody thinks is the best offensive lineman in the draft, and plugged him in at left guard?
Oh, man. Mawanoa is good. I think he's really, really good. I guess you really can't be mad about that. But it's hard for me to see him fall into number 8. I think he's probably going to be gone before then. If he's there, I just know the Saints is just going to run up and sprint to the podium and take him, even if Jeremiah Love's on the board, which is like a gut punch because that's something they shouldn't do. This team desperately needs weapons in a very bad way, like truly needs so many weapons, and it's the cheap way to do it is in the draft because it's so deep in so many areas that they could, get some help.
So we've talked about Cam Jordan and Demario Davis a ton, and we'll just kind of wait on that and wait and see. Alontae Taylor's kind of the next name on that list. Where are you with him right now?
That's tough. I think some teams are going to give him some money. I really do think a team's going to give him some money, and he would love to be back here. They all would love to be back here, but at his age of 27, I think he might get a bigger contract elsewhere. He fit well in the slot here at times, but I still think the Saints are going to fork out a lot of money for Alontae in this situation. I think they probably there's something they can address maybe in cheaper way in a free agency or later in the draft, like a 4th or 5th round pick. But I think that's the one that probably I see signed somewhere else for a bigger contract, in my opinion.
Do you think they feel good enough about Stutzman if DeMario Davis walks that he's next up and they don't have to go reach in free agency to fill that spot?
Look, Catherine Terrell and I were talking about this yesterday. That is the one position I'm really worried about if DeMario Davis does walk and goes to another team, because he made it seem like he wants to at least take a lap in here and see what it's like in free agency. And I'm a little worried if he goes somewhere else. This team doesn't have that reliable veteran linebacker who can, do what DeMario did. I mean, there's not many people in the NFL who could do what DeMario did. Pete Werner still hasn't been able to show that he can. And Danny Stutzman was a rookie last year. I wouldn't put it past them to go find a linebacker if DeMario does leave, a veteran linebacker. I mean, maybe they go chase down Devin White. They go chase down another young veteran, somebody that can fit in Staley's system. It would be a big loss. I know DeMario and Cam both want to be here, but I think for both sides, the money has to be right.
Do you think they're listening to the Saints first here, or do you think that they're going to just wait and then see what the market spills out?
I think they truly will listen to the Saints. I think Cam is more locked into the Saints than I would say the other guys. I think Cam would love to completely finish his career here. I think that he knows that would be odd, but he has said many a time he will not do it on a hometown discount, whether if it's 1 or 2 years. And I don't blame him. I mean, he had a 10.5 sacks last year. I mean, that's like a resurgence for him at his age. But the Saints have to be careful. You don't pay players for what they did now. You have to start paying players for what they can do.
Yep.
I mean, that's the smart way that Mickey and Jeff and company and Kai, that's the way they should look at it now. Not what you did, it's what you can do. I think that's how they have to look at this entire process with every player in free agency.
We'll see if they can get that done. Sharief Ishaq, our guest at WDSU. Quick transition over to the Pels. Trade deadline. Alvarado goes. Not much other activity. Reports that they think they have a playoff roster. Like, where are things with that team?
It's getting to the offseason as quickly as possible, as healthy as possible, and seeing what they can do. I mean, truly, do you want to keep this team intact, or do you want to break it apart a little bit and try to trade off some of your pieces? But at least you're starting to see Zion play better offensively. Defensively is a different story. We get to see DeJounte Murray tonight for the first time this season.
Yeah. Once
again, it's still waiting for Trey Murphy to come back and see how this entire thing looks healthy. And look, they might make a nice push in these final 24 games or so down the season. They're not going to make the play-in, but you at least get a little sample size and taste of what could be. But does what could be really work for you next year? So I think some significant changes have to come this offseason. They've got to collect some more first-round picks or young players in a trade. I just think it's not working, man. I mean, truly, we keep running it back. You keep running it back, and the same thing over and over again. And the definition of insanity, and just not working. You got to move on somehow and fix this.
Everybody's on a hockey high after the weekend. Should New Orleans get a hockey team?
Why not, man? Bring in a hockey team. It was fun. It was fun for the 2 games I watched in the Olympics. I did not know a single player's name until I watched these last 2 games.
I watched 2 periods, which were the third period and then the 90 seconds of overtime. I didn't see any of the women's game. Thrilled they won, but I didn't see any of it.
And it was good to win in overtime against Canada the same exact way. But, yes, I love to watch hockey, but I will be honest with you, I don't know many players outside of, like, Sidney Crosby. And that's pretty much
He's a Canadian, and he didn't play, and he lost. So Go back to Canada.
Yeah, there you go. They lost. So, yeah, I don't know much about hockey, but it seems fun. It'd be cool to have a team here. I know they've been kicking around, but I just don't see it.
All right, Sharief. We'll talk next week.
All right, buddy.
Sharief Ishaq, WDSU, down in New Orleans, covering the Saints and the Pels. You excited for DeJounte Murray, Jordan?
I mean, I'm excited. Matter of fact, I did a video about him today on the Pelican Scoop. I'm more excited about it's. I mean, is there really anything to be excited about?
1 to 10. 10, you're beside yourself. You can't even wait. 1, you won't watch at all. Where are you?
I'm a 7.
7.
No, I mean, I'm tapped in. It's more about just building good habits, and because it's not much to be looking forward to, but also at the same time, like Sharief said, you can go on a run and lower the chances of that pick being so high. So it's like, that's what I really want. I'd rather the pick fall, 12, 13. I mean, we're not getting it regardless, so it's like, might as well be 12, 13 than 5.
What could have been?
Or 1.
Hate to see that.
And so I think DeJounte can definitely get us a couple wins down the stretch.
Here we go. There's your Saints and Pelicans talk. Let's close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show. This is The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Excited for tomorrow's show. We'll have Cookie Riley in his normal Wednesday spot. We'll also have my first edition of the SEC Baseball Power Rankings. 2 weeks in, I have not watched everyone play. I have monitored things statistically. I've listened to some podcasts. It probably won't be correct, but there will be effort put behind it. I'll spend some time this evening and certainly tomorrow morning putting it together, and we'll see where things shake out. I think Oklahoma's made a heck of a statement early on. I think there have been some offensive issues for A&M. I think Auburn has done some really good things of late. Florida's starting pitching has kind of been up and down. Georgia had a really nice weekend offensively. Arkansas, good job against Xavier over the weekend. So I've paid attention a good bit. Ole Miss might be better than some people think. They're very old, and their pitching looks pretty good on paper. I like Auburn's Friday night guy as well. I'm going to talk about that on tomorrow's show. So the league is unsurprisingly extremely good. I'm very, very fascinated to see this week. UCLA is going to play 3 SEC teams, and if you're unfamiliar with UCLA, this past weekend they just took a flamethrower to TCU out in LA. Just crushed TCU for 3 days, basically. Chalowski looks incredible. Like, that's a really, really good team, and it'll be Tennessee and UCLA game 1 on Friday. And UCLA will go through 2 other SEC teams. Very fascinated to see how that shakes out. And we'll further shape things. Like, outside of the tournaments, the next couple of weeks are kind of a tough watch for SEC baseball. Like, LSU's got Northeastern and Dartmouth coming in. And I don't even remember who LSU series is with the last week of non-conference play. That shows you, like, how locked in I am on LSU baseball, and, like, I'm not even sure what they do in week 4 just because we all know it's the week before SEC play, and it's just Sacramento State is coming in. And Sacramento State has had a reasonable program over the last couple of years, so it's not like the worst competition you could bring in, but certainly nothing like what you're going to see in the next 2 weeks when LSU plays Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, and then it just keeps on rolling because after that you've got Kentucky, and then you're at Tennessee and at Ole Miss, and you're off and running at that point, But this is, as I said earlier this week, well, actually yesterday, like, this is, once you get past that tournament, which LSU just played in their tournament, like, it's just not a lot to look forward to until you get to conference play. The team's got to lock in, the coaches have got to lock in, but us who cover the team, you who are fans of the team that are watching the team, you're looking at this going, okay, got 9 more innings with Dartmouth today. All right, let's lock in. It's just not that easy to do, but they will. And then tonight they'll play Mcneese. I've got a preview of that game on LouisianaSports.net. I've also got a column up about Steel and Milam at LouisianaSports.net as well, so you can check all that out of that for free. One order of business left to do. It's take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so we're going to stay in the Olympic spirit. So star Kevin Durant dismissed the notion that his Olympic career ended in 2024, and he made it clear that he wants to represent Team USA in the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. Durant said, and quote, "Hell yeah, I want to play, but I got to stay on top of my game. I want to produce on the floor and make Grant Hill and whoever is making the decision, I want them to put me on the team. But I don't want to be on the team for seniority. I want to still prove I can help the team win." So Durant will be 39 in the 2028 Olympics. So take it or leave it, Durant will be playing in the Olympics in 2028.
I'll take it.
Really? I'll take it.
He's 6'10",
6'10",
and he can shoot.
Facts, and his game is not above the rim or nothing like that. All he needs to do is shoot.
He may not be the best player on the team.
Yeah.
But he could help. And if you think that having experience in that and you're taking 12 guys, like, yeah, I think he'll be on the team.
39. I feel like such a new day and age now. I guess LeBron really just tore down his barrier where it's like, we're talking 39 years old where guys
Kevin Durant's my age. We were a freshman in college at the same time I was at LSU. He was at Texas, obviously. He scored more points than me.
Yeah.
But we were on college campuses at the same time.
Okay, well, mine is Jamar Chase. So moving forward, yes, Jamar Chase. Yes, we played against him in high school. We did beat Rummel my senior year, so yeah, we for the first time in like 25 years too. So.
How? Why didn't Rummel just throw it to him?
Oh, so Rummel's starting quarterback went to Holy Cross and he transferred. It was like one of the first like transfer portal little things that ever happened. He leaves Holy Cross, goes to Rummel. So that game we were fired up. Like our starting quarterback who've been here leads us to go to Rummel, team up with Jamar Chase and who else they had. Whole bunch of other guys.
Was Fulton on that team?
No, he was a 2020. He was 2016.
He was too old.
Yeah, 2018. So yeah, we brought it to him. We won on the game winner. So the SEC has fined Kentucky head coach Mark Pope $25,000 for his post-game conduct following the team loss to Auburn. He said, Mitch, if those MFers try to find me, screw them because I didn't say a word about how they cheated us. So it was, he said that to the athletic director for Kentucky. So is Pope losing it right now? Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it, but then he did it. He didn't say anything about the officials into the microphone.
Okay.
But if you've been in a press conference,
it's mics everywhere.
You got the mic right here, and then you step away from the mic and you're walking out, and all the press is still right there. And he said, Mitch, if those MFers try to find me, well, all the media could just hear him.
Oh,
so
Lord.
they all just tweeted it. Like, oh, well, here's what Mark Pope just said. Just because you don't say it directly in the microphone, he said it in front of 20 reporters.
Yeah.
You're going to get fined.
Like, come on, man. They need a story.
He can afford it. He's got the $25K, but like that was obviously going to happen.
I mean, what is their roster? Like $22 million for the roster?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got deep pockets over there in Big Blue Nation. So the Pirates selected Connor Griffin with the 9th overall pick in the 2024 MLB draft. And it didn't take him long to prove his worth. So today during spring training against the Boston Red Sox, the shortstop launched 2 home runs. So will Connor Griffin live up to the hype? Take it or leave it?
Take it.
I'll take it.
What do you know about Connor Griffin?
Well, I know you said earlier he was going to go to LSU.
That's right.
So that's why I put him in here today.
He's from Mississippi. He signed with LSU. He was never coming to LSU, but for those that lose track of them immediately after the draft and when they sign, I think he's 19, and he's
19?
He's already flying through their system. He's the best prospect in baseball. He hit 2 homers today. He might break camp as their shortstop.
Really?
Like 2 years after high school. He's a freak. When he was in high school, he was 6'3". He was 195. Like he just looked like he already looked like a pro. Like he just already there aren't that many. A lot of the guys that get drafted out of high school are still skinny and they're projectable. Like William Schmidt was a skinny kid that could have been drafted out of high school. No, he wouldn't have been picked 8th or whatever that like Griffin was, but he didn't look like that out of high school. He looked like a man already, and he was never coming to LSU, but he's flown through for sure.
All right, so tell me this, Hunt. You're telling me this guy might be able to make the opening day roster before he's able to buy a beer. That's what we're at right now.
Significantly.
Significantly
before that, yeah.
Oh, wow. This kid is the next one. So I say for take it or leave it.
All right. I still don't think the Pirates are going to be any good, but
true.
We'll see.
True.
They tried to spend some money this year. Obviously they got Skeens and they didn't trade him, so credit there.
Got a Connor Griffin.
They're going to bring in Connor Griffin. Those 2 guys that's good drafting. Skeens, they had the first pick. They could have taken Skeen or Cruz.
Well, didn't they get a catcher or something? That was like a number 1 pick they got. Like his name was Henry Davis.
Something? That's correct. Yeah, they did get a highly coveted catcher. And they spent money on a free agent, but I can't remember. Marcell Ozuna, I think they signed.
Oh, okay. The Braves?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he can hit a little bit. He's real old, and he wears weird arm sleeves that don't match his team's jersey color, but he can hit. Can't play defense at all, but he can hit. All right, that's it for us on a Tuesday. Hope to see you tonight at Court at the Table, 8 o'clock for Sports Trivia. If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand. That'll drive you home next on After Further Review. See you tomorrow.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. As of October 1st, under new ownership with the Fabry family. They've been in business in Baton Rouge 35 years. You know the Fabry family. Unbelievable customer service, great buying experience. Service after the sale as well. In their service department at Fabry Chevrolet GMC, they service all makes. So stop on by if you're having some issues. February, I've been telling you all February long. Got a couple more days to tell you. it's time to buy a truck. Silverados, up to $11,000 off MSRP, 1.9 APR financing. So if you want a Chevy Silverado, they got it. GMC Sierras, up to $13,000 off MSRP, 0.0 APR financing. Looking for a truck? Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Of course, they got your SUVs as well. Chevy Tahoes and Suburbans, GMC Yukons, and Denali's. It's all there in St. Francisville on Highway 61. Go by and see my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Every car that's on the lot is online at fabrychevrolet.com. fabrychevrolet.com.